Well, there has been developments in the world of sport as well with the passing of Queen Elizabeth yesterday. And we are joined at the moment by football journalist Joe Crann. He's joining us from Sheffield in the UK to talk to us about what is happening and in particular in football. Joe, good morning and thank you so much for your time this morning. We saw a statement from the Football League, the English Football League, saying there is at least a couple of matches that are postponed that were supposed to take place today. What else do we know at this present moment?
Nothing really. Unfortunately, we're basically in a situation now where the EFL, the Premier League, are sort of in discussions with the UK government. Obviously, there's protocols in place. The UK has gone into sort of a period of 10 days of mourning now, which, if you're looking at the 10 days, that would sort of take into account this weekend's games and obviously next weekend as well. There's sort of, a lot. I think the expectation is that the games, especially in the Premier League, will be called off. Whether that is the case, we don't know. But I think most people are expecting an answer sort of before midday today.
We spoke earlier and you did say that it should be before midday. But is there a possibility of it not happening? Is there a possibility of not postponing the games? And what's the likely feeling around all of that?
So the feeling's actually really, it's really split. You've got a lot of people who, obviously the Queen was incredibly popular here. She was a woman who was of great importance to this country, and there are a lot of people that have felt her death very, very strongly. And as a monarch of the country, there are a lot of people that kind of agree that, sport should go into mourning as well as everything else. There's also the other side of the coin that some people feel she should be remembered, and that the sport would give the chance to do that, would, give chance to people to get together and celebrate her life. So there is two sides of the coin. A lot of people feeling like they should be postponed. A lot of people feel like they shouldn't. I think there's also the financial aspect as well. If they do postpone the game, there is, people are going to lose a lot of money, whether it's hotels, whether it's travel, and that's just people domestically, let alone with a league like the Premier League, where, people are paying thousands of pounds to fly in. So there are, like I say, very much two sides to the coin, and I think that will all be considered when the Premier League and the EFL make their decisions. Obviously, the games for tonight, that was always kind of going to happen, the day after her passing. Only 2 games to take into account as well. But when you're looking at an entire league, obviously there's a lot more to take into account. And I'll be honest with you, I think it could go either way. The expectation is that the games will be postponed at least with the Premier League. But I don't think it would come as a major shock if the EFL were to call the games off and the Premier League were to call the games off.
One of the things to consider when making that decision going forward is the length of the mourning period, of course, and whether it will be only the games for this weekend in particular being postponed, or it'll be an extended period and games the following weekend, or if there's any midweek games. Is there concern about fixture congestion going forward? The international windows coming very, very soon in September and October. There's also the World Cup in mind, with that pause coming through in November and December.
Yeah, I mean that will definitely be taken into consideration. It's a pretty cramped schedule in this first half of the year anyway, as it is. But I think that, with this situation, there will be more consideration regarding the protocols. I mean, that you can find online that there's a whole London Bridges Down protocol system that's been in place. Well, in place to kick into effect if the Queen was to pass away. Obviously, that's now happened. I think there's a lot of things that they've got to look at, and they will be looking at that. Like I say, the Premier League and the EFL are sort of in discussions with the government, to try and find the best plan of attack. The 10 days of mourning, as I said, would cover through to next weekend as well as this one. They might opt to do none of it. They might opt to do all of it. It's very much a case of in process, and I think the main thing that people want to know is just whether it's happening or not. If a decision has been made, they just need to let people know, because people got lives to live as well. They've got to make plans around what is going to happen, and it's obviously very, very sad what's happened, but life has to go on in some way, shape, or form. So people need to know whether they've got plans, whether it's the teams in terms of their organisation of the games, or the fans that are going to them, and that kind of thing.
Joe, the direct heir to the throne, the heir apparent, Prince William, is the president of the Football Association in England. Does this mean anything at all, especially with the international window coming, as I said, not too far from now?
I'll be honest, I don't think the family, will be talking about the football right now. I think, these sort of conversations will be going off with government, and the royal family are, more importantly than anyone else really, they are in mourning. They've lost their mum, their grandparents, it's been for them. I don't think that is really going to come into consideration. I think the family will be taken into consideration in terms of what they need, but I don't think that they're going to be calling Prince Charles or Prince William up, King Charles now, calling them up and saying, do you think we should play the football this weekend?
All right, Joe Crann, thank you so much. We are flat out of time.